Right away. Okay. All right. Perfect. All right. Now it says recording has started, so we can begin now. Guys, welcome back after lunch, guys, and let's start off with the things which we need to talk about. Okay, and I'm hoping that guys, just give me give me a quick thumbs up as to are the things visible and audible as well, guys. Both. Is it visible and audible? All of you. Okay, perfect. Thanks, Google. And let's begin with the things which we want to talk about. Okay, so brilliant. Okay, uh, guys, please don't. Yeah, Rishikesh, you have something to say? You have raised your hand. Rishikesh, do you have anything to say? I see you have raised your hand. Okay, all right, no worries. So. Okay, so guys, let's begin with the things. Okay, now, all right. In our prior in our prior lecture, guys, in the morning, right, we were discussing a little bit about what Python is, right? We discussed about few things when it comes to Python, right? We learned that what do you say? I'll probably write a few points here, guys, right? So it is a first of all, right? If I talk about high level language, right? We have seen that, right? Python is a high level language and it is an basically the Python uses a interpreter, right? But also guys, I told you, right? Technically, it is also a compiled language, okay? We have also looked into that, right? But however, guys, I've told you, right? Please look into it and let me know why do I say that Python is a compiled language. Once you go home, just research it a bit, okay? And let me know about it, okay? All right. And if I talk about, right, because like widely used for what do you say, data science related tasks, right? Data analysis and stuff, right? Widely used for that, right? If you talk about, right, can be used for, web development also, right? I'm just giving few words, few of the more major important words, right? If you talk about, right? And like syntax friendly, right? And if you guys, I think you can understand that easily, right? I've written syntax friendly because it's very, what do you say, English, right? Like syntax, right? Very easy to interpret and stuff, right? It's also, I told you, right? It's a functional programming language, if you talk about, right? Functional, there are a few more words, OOP or object-oriented programming language as well, right? If you talk about I hope all of these things are particularly clear for everyone, okay? That's pretty much what we have discussed so far, right? So, and obviously, guys, what is most important is completely free and open source. Okay, so if you talk about, right, so completely free and open source, no one is going to ask or charge anything from you once you, when you download Python and stuff, okay? So hopefully, guys, all of these things are pretty clear, right? If I talk about, right? And then, guys, we just also talked about different ways in which actually Python is available for all of us, okay? If you look into the context here, we were discussing the different Python interfaces, right? Ideally, right? I told you integrated development learning environment, if you talk about, right? You have Anaconda, right? Now we are going to talk about that as well, right? We have Python Win for Windows, a specific Windows only interface for Python. And there is Python Shell. We're going to see these three, by the way, guys. And Python Win, you can have a look at online and check it out, right, guys? So it's available as an application, but we'll have a quick look at these three. Okay. So to talk about, guys, obviously the very first thing we were discussing about, right? See, guys, uh, let me go to the download section. I believe I might have the file here, right? Yeah, I have both. So, guys, most of you have already downloaded this, right? I hope it's particularly available to all of you, right? Anaconda is a Python distribution, okay, which is available, right? And by the way, guys, I told you, right? Anaconda is quite a big or huge application, close to around 1 GB, if you talk about, right? So, guys, that's why I requested you all to download it. Okay, keep it downloaded. And in case, guys, I'll just quickly even talk about like if in case people have not downloaded, right? You can go to Google and just type Anaconda download. Okay, so and once you click on that, right, you can see, right, the first thing. I mean, you can open source package and environment manager system that runs on Windows. Okay, so if you Windows, Mac OS, and everything. Okay, if you talk about, right, so you have the Anaconda distribution. You can click on it, right? And by the way, I can also, like, if you want to go ahead and register it, but generally I'm like keep it personal, so I skip the registration part. The moment you do that, you wind up having this, right? So you can download Anaconda's latest stuff, which is containing Python version 1 3.12. Okay. Prior to that, guys, there have been a quite many number of, like, guys, you can also visit, like, if you write google.com and write download Python, okay, or you will end up going to the official website of Python, that is python.org. Okay. So here also, if you go to this, right, you can download the Python from here as well, right? I'll like, let me go to downloads, and within this, maybe I'll go to all releases. Okay. So this shows you all the different releases which are part of it. As of now, like Python, if you talk about, right? So Python versions, right? And you have a list of Python releases if you talk about, right? Very old, when I mean, if you look into the context here. Okay, so there is Python 1.1 and like way back in time. Okay, so if you talk about, right, started with 1.1 and the first releases, and then there have been subsequently a lot many number of versions which have been installed, I mean, released, right? You can see the years, and along with that you can see, right? So you can see Python, generally, guys, Python 2.7 is again Python 2 version, one of the most stable version of Python, but for version 2. Okay. So, the syntax is quite a bit different if you talk about, guys. Okay. So, so I mean, generally, that's the reason why, guys, we are moving towards like when we talk about Python 3.12 and stuff, right? The current version of Anaconda, if you talk about, right, like if you download it, right, you already saw, right? It is containing Python 3.12. Okay, so containing this particular version, maybe, or maybe this one. Okay. Hopefully it's particularly clear, guys. You can go ahead and click on it, and it's going to give you the exe file or the executable file, guys. By the way, there is one interesting thing. Let me ask you this, right? That day we have discussed a little bit. I was talking about executable files and stuff, right? You see this, right? This is a exe file, right? If I go ahead and make it like, I told you, right? That type, it says application. Basically, it's nothing but exe, right? So when you say application type of a file, that means executable file. That, and look at this Chrome setup. When you download, again it is application based file. VirtualBox, again it is a application based or executable file. Okay, so xgm, you can see that it is, I mean, again, Python, I mean, Windows installer package. This is a Windows file, I mean, created for specifically for Windows, if you talk about, right? So, and then you have Python, again it is an application file or exe file, right? So the idea behind talking about, right, guys, you can see, right, a lot of different applications are particularly present here, right? Why am I even talking about these executable files? These, what do you say, .exe files or executable files, they are nothing but compiled files, guys. Okay. These are compiled. The word earlier we looked into is compiler, right? So all of these executable files are compiled files. Compiler has a very, what do you say? If you compare compiler versus an interpreter, a compiler is always faster than a interpreter because it has that huge chunk of things which it needs to unfold. But imagine, guys, let me tell you one thing, right? When you double click on this executable file and you press on next, right? What the way I'm going to do it now. Like, for example, I double clicked on Anaconda 3, right? So guys, along with that, you can also see the process of installation and everything, right? It says verifying the installer, right? And all you do is click on next, I agree, and maybe for all users, right? I just give permission for, as a matter of fact, right? And I hope you can understand, guys, right? This all of these things which we are actually following, right? Let me press yes. Okay. So yeah, you can see, guys, that already anyways, I already have Anaconda installed on my system. Okay. So you can see, guys, that it requires, everyone can see, right, that it requires 5.2 GB as a space requirement, right? It's a huge requirement in terms of space constraint and stuff, right? But however, I can download and install the same. Okay. And if I click on next, and although I told you, right, I already have Anaconda installed on my system, I don't want to reinstall it. It's a pretty easy and basic process, guys, right? So you can follow these instructions and it unpacks after this. Okay. So all you need to do is patiently wait for the installation to complete. But what I meant to talk about in all of this, when it installs, right, at that time, right, it, what do you say, unzips whatever is present. Okay. I mean, whatever files are present, right? So in that case, if it why I said .exe files are compiled files, it's because, right, not interpreted, because if it tries to use interpretation, then in that case, 5.2 GB of compressed, sorry, expanded data, which is present in this 950 MB file, right? If you talk about, right, will take a huge amount to go ahead and install. Got it, guys? Because every code, because I told you, right, every application is nothing but a set of codes which is written, guys. Okay. In a very, fanciful manner, if you talk about every application at the back end is nothing but code. If you want to see what is the building block of it, right, all you do is put some nice fancy UI to it, right? Everything is nothing but at the back end, nothing but a code, right? So imagine the lines of code which are written for creating this 1 GB of a file. Okay. So it will be huge, right? The base will be very huge, right? If you talk about, right? So that's what I was trying to tell you, that if it tries to, if it was the interpreter way of doing the things, then it would go to each and every line and then unpack each line, see if the error is coming up and stuff. And by the way, like, stop there, or if there is, so imagine if you are using the if executable files were actually compilers, in that case, sorry, interpreters, then in that case maybe it has, so after some time, let's say after 30 minutes of patience, after you waited for a very long time, right? It is compiling, and all of a sudden you are almost at 98% of the file size, uncompressed, and then it shows, all of a sudden it shows error. And in that case, everything goes up to the toss. Okay. So I hope you can understand the context here, guys, that this is what is basically called about in terms of having a compiled, that's why you will, yeah, it's advisable to have a compiled instead of a interpreted file. Got it, guys? I hope it's clear for everyone, right? Because a compiled file will be easy. Compared to, like, because it's going to take a chunk of the code, okay, execute it at one go, and then uh, install it for you. Okay. So, but generally, so what basically they do, right? So you might be thinking, then what is the advantages of a interpreter then? Okay. So if you look into it, right, since interpreter goes line by line, okay, so it checks for errors in each line. So, you know, a efficient way of looking into the things is, you can what do you say? Come, I mean, interpret the code. I mean, interpret the code line by line. So you created that, maybe this particular application Anaconda is created with, let's say, 20 million lines of code. Okay, so because it's a huge application, has lot of content in it, so maybe it is containing 1 million or 2 million lines of code is written, right? So in that case, guys, if you talk about, right, every line of code is made error free first, okay, so that it works. It has to at least work, right? Because you see, right, all you are doing, I mean, anyone is having a particular system, he can install, given the recommended RAM requirements, I mean, ROM requirements and everything. If someone meets the minimum criteria, he should be able to download, I mean, sorry, install the particular application, right? So if you talk about it, right? So I hope it's particularly understandable by everyone that this is how it works out. So they employ interpretation for every line. And once they find that all the lines are error free, let's make it compiled, because they know that now there is no error in a single line, I mean, in any single line. So let's compile it. So that's how the application.exe files are actually created, guys. Okay, so and that's how it works out in the at the background. And because you saw, right, compilation process is faster than interpretation process, right? So you are taking advantage of that compilation process while you unzip the files, right? Whereas for making the codes, I mean, individually error free, each and every code individually error free, you are using the interpretation. Got it? So generally, when you develop a full-fledged application, you should technically use both the processes, because both have certain advantages and certain disadvantages, right? So compilation part is very fast to execute, but lacks, what do you say, line by line executional stuff, right? Whereas if you talk about interpretation, it has that huge advantage of line by line interpretation stuff, but lacks in the time. I mean, it takes a lot of time. Okay, but it is possible to create application without compiling them. Like you just have the interpreter who is running the basically like while extraction process is going on. Okay, that can be done, but that should not be done. Okay, because obviously once the application nowadays, right, the world is moving fast forward, right? We need everything to be available as quick as possible. Okay. So, and that's why a combination or a hand, I mean, shake hand between the two is necessary. Okay. So I hope it's particularly understandable what I am technically talking about here. Okay. So hopefully it's understandable for everyone, guys. Let's move forward, right? And then, guys, yeah, one more thing which I wanted to talk about here is, let me, yeah, so you saw that you can go ahead and download um, the Anaconda, right? Without, I mean, by going to the website, and then make sure to go ahead and what do you say? Install, I mean, install it, right? But however, I told you, right? So once you download Anaconda, right, you can click on the search bar and you can say Anaconda Navigator. Okay, once everything is installed perfectly, you can click on Anaconda Navigator. Okay, and let's wait for minute, guys, and check. It's a huge application, right, guys? So I hope you can understand it. Takes resources, a lot of resources to run, right? And and that's what makes it like a little bit of a heavy application, because it's widely used for a lot of different things. Okay, so hopefully it's understandable by everyone. So you can see that now it's loading up. Let's wait for a few minutes. So I hope all of us have installed Anaconda as well, guys. Okay. So, yeah, now that it is opened. Let's go to Anaconda Navigator here. Maybe there is something called. So there is a newer version of Anaconda Navigator available. We strongly recommend to update. I don't want to do that. So anyways, guys, I think you guys would already be having the latest one. Those of you who definitely like who downloaded it maybe yesterday or a little bit earlier. Okay. So I don't need to sign in. I mean, you can sign in, guys, once you create the account. You remember, right? Skip registration. If you clicked on what do you say, sign up there, you could have signed, I mean, created an account and stuff. Okay. But now, if I talk about it, guys, if you look into the context here, right? So there are few tools which are already available. In fact, guys, these are individual. You can see, guys, the Anaconda Navigator has applications. Each of them, if you talk about, right, each of them individually is an application. So you can think of Anaconda as a cluster of applications. Okay. So our most, I mean, the one which we want to focus on is the Jupyter notebook. Okay, we'll focus on this part more. Okay, and afterwards, like I hope you can understand there are others as well. By the way, like for example, like PyCharm, you might have heard about it, right? It is a Python IDE or integrated development environment for data science. Okay, so combines the interactivity of Jupyter notebooks with intelligent Python coding. Again, guys, PyCharm, many of the people tend to use PyCharm for their everyday activity, but our intention is to work with Jupyter Notebook so that we have a basic understanding of how the things work out. Okay, so that's fundamental thing is necessary, and post that you can use anything like VS Code. Some people use Visual Studio Code. Some may use Spider. Okay, so I think you can understand, guys. So you know, Spider, this particular Spider application is more of used for arrays, guys. Arrays, when I say it, NumPy. I'm not sure whether you guys have heard about it, right? But NumPy arrays. Okay, so we'll talk about NumPy arrays in our advanced classes and like when we deal with something called as data analysis with Python. Okay, so it is there as your fifth unit where we talk about arrays, we talk about pandas. Okay, there's matplotlib. These are all libraries. We'll talk about what libraries are as well. Okay. But Spider is, I mean, is the best, one of the best IDE used for arrays specifically. You can see, guys, mostly used for scientific Python development environment, right? So if you talk about like, because you know visualizing the arrays is a bit of a challenging thing like I'll exactly give you an example when we look into it you will probably understand it there but maybe not here so array to be very frank guys those of you who have a little bit of a understanding of it right arrays are like lists but they have a fundamentally different property but don't worry about it. So I think sir will be taking a session on your data analysis. Okay, so he will definitely let you know about NumPy arrays, what is pandas, right? What is a data frame and everything, which is but in order to take that next step, we need to cover up the basic step, and that is to understand Python. Okay, so hopefully you can understand. So a lot of these things are particularly available, guys. Anaconda prompt is another one thing which we are also going to look into, guys. Okay. Jupyter Lab is again full-fledged, what you say, based on the Jupyter notebook and architecture. So if you talk about extensible environment, so but it's more interactive compared to your notebooks, right? So if you talk about, right, we'll talk about the basic one here in our context. Okay. Now, guys. So, if you talk about that, so I think you all understood, right? The Anaconda Navigator contains all of these things. Okay. So, if you talk about the context here, right? So, all right. So now let me come back here. So we are going to anyways look into, let me just try to open up Jupyter Notebook for you. So you can just go to this application, right? After going to Anaconda Navigator, just click on Jupyter Notebook. Okay, come on. Where is it? Guys, can anybody tell me what is the file extension of Jupyter Notebook? If someone knows, and you can, just like how for text files you have .txt, executable files, exe, right? So same way for image files you have I'm sorry, what do you say, JPG, right? If you talk about, right, for PDF, you have, I mean, again, PDF, Acrobat files is PDF, right? Word files are doc and stuff. So, what is the file extension for a Jupyter Notebook file? What do you think? Anyone like to give it a try? No? Okay, so let me tell you. So, guys, the extension for the Jupyter Notebook files is .ipynb. Okay, so where I is, if you talk about, is nothing but interactive. Okay, and if you talk about this py, okay, I think you all know about it. Okay, that is going to be Python. Okay, and if you look into this nb collectively, okay, this is nothing but notebook. Okay, so sum total is the file type is interactive Python notebook, or otherwise known as .ipynb files. Okay, so these are I mean, when you create a file, okay, a Jupyter notebook file, it will be saved in the name, I mean, under the extension as .ipynb file. Okay, so anyways, I hope you can understand, guys, right? You will understand why it is called interactive, because guys, you know, and it has a notebook like structure. Okay, so in a notebook you have cells, right? So where you can write something. Same way, guys, here also in the Jupyter notebook, right, there are cells, right, where you can write your content. Okay, in fact, content means in this case it is Python code. Okay, so if you talk about it, right? So I hope it's particularly clear for everyone. Okay, so makes everyone understandable about the concept, right? So all right, I hope everyone understood. Now next let's move forward, right? So I'll click on this new, okay, and I can create a Python 3 file. I can click on it. The moment I click on it, it opens up the Jupyter. By the way, guys, please be very careful about the spelling. Okay, it is Jupyter notebook. Okay, so do you know what's the full form of Jupyter, by the way, guys? Anyone? Anyone who would like to say what's the full form of Jupyter? Anyone? What do you think, guys? Anyone who would like to say what's the full form? Okay, so here, guys, JU is a programming language called Julia. Okay, that's what JU stands for. Then you have these three letters, PYT. I think you all are aware of it, right? That is nothing but, if you talk about Python, okay? And there's nothing for E. By the way, you know, there is a language, there is actually a programming language called E as well. Like just like you have C, right? There is a programming language called E. And R, I hope you might have, some of you might have heard about it, right? That R is nothing but the R programming, Programming. I'm not sure about the spelling, guys. So language. So So Julia, you have Python and R. Okay, that's why it got its classic name as Jupyter. Okay, so Jupyter. Okay, so E is just an acronym used here because this guy actually does not support E language, by the way, but there are, what do you say? I told you, right? There is a language called E as well. Okay. So that's Jupyter for you. Okay. So once you open the Jupyter notebook here, guys, okay, so you'll see this kind of a interface, right? Which might be, you can obviously rename the file. Like, for example, maybe I'll say sample file. Okay. You can see the auto file extension, which was there. Okay. So new name of the file. So IPYNB, you can see. I'm going to say rename it, and you can see that it is renamed. So you can just click on it and name your files according to what you require. Okay. And obviously, guys, all sorts of things are available: file, edit options, and stuff, view. One of the most common things which I would always like all of you to do is go to view and use show line numbers. Okay, so let me show you what happened. So the moment you see that this particular cell, right? Let me go ahead and add some few more cells by clicking on plus. You can do that. Okay. And you can see that as of now, it does not contain, but I can click on view and I can go to show line numbers because guys, this is going to help you a lot. Can you see this, right? The moment you write code, right, it's going to, so if you guys have any questions, right, that, sir, can you explain line number 5? It will be very easy. So you can say that just like, because if I write 100 lines of code, it is easy to diagnose what is going on. Okay. So always click on view and make sure to show the line numbers. Okay. Just to tell you that, guys. Okay. So it's a nice option which is available. Okay. And obviously, guys, in this particular stuff, right, if you talk about, right, so I think more or less I just talked about how what Jupyter notebook actually is. Okay, you see that, by the way, you might be wondering where is this particular file saved. Okay, so let me tell you guys, it is actually saved at, like, because it pings to the local host. You guys can see on top, right? The moment a Jupyter notebook actually loaded, it shows on top as local host. And if you talk about, right, in this context, guys, it opens locally at your system. Okay, so the fact is, this is actually a location on your system. So if you look into it, guys, it says contacts, documents, downloads, right? How do I know which location is it, right? If you talk about, right? So in that case, right, I can click on this, what do you say? Windows button, okay? And I can say Anaconda you saw me opening Anaconda Navigator, right? You can open Anaconda prompt, right? The Anaconda prompt exactly looks like the command prompt window or the terminal window which you saw in Ubuntu, okay? So I can click on Anaconda prompt, okay? So this, when I open this up, right, it looks like pretty much like the Anaconda, sorry, it pretty much looks like the command prompt, right? If you talk about, right? And if you look into it, guys, it shows a location here. It says C users Soumya, right? If you talk about, let's go and check this location. So I'll go to my file location here. Let me go to this PC. I'll go to C, just like how it says users, and I'll go to Soumya. And here, if you look into it, guys, right, if you understand the context here, guys, the IPYNB file I created is located actually here. Is it clear for everyone? Okay. Everyone understood, right? So, guys, just quickly respond as yes or no, everyone. I hope it's particularly clear for everyone. In the chat, just quickly respond that, guys. Is it clear for everyone? Yes or no, guys? Are we there? Anyone there? Okay, perfect. Thank you so much, Lugesh. So, so I hope it's understandable by everyone. Okay. So, that. I mean, that IPYNB file is located at this particular location, right? And perfect. Thanks, guys, for the response. Okay. So it's actually, as I said, right? It's located here. And how do I hope you can understand the Anaconda prompt is opening at that location. Okay. So now what I can alternatively do, suppose you might be asking like, sir, I want to open the Jupyter notebook. I mean, Jupyter at a different location. Maybe I've created a project folder, right? In that project folder, I want to open it, right? So in that case, guys, what you can do, let me cross this up, or maybe I'll just cross this Jupyter notebook, which I have opened up, right? I think you can understand, guys. These are the files which are actually present at that location, right? So if you look into it, right? Now, what I can do is let me go back. Let me just I can I can do this. Like for example, uh, let's say, look at this, guys. I will go to the prompt here, right? You all know, right? I can change the directory by using the cd command, right? We all know about it, right? So suppose I want to open this in, let's say there is a folder in desktop. Maybe I'll open up maybe some, let's say I go to college data here and I go to foundation course. Just I want to open it here, maybe. Okay. So to see these folders, you can see CCOE, and there is Dr. KVSRIT and stuff, right? So this is the location where I want my Jupyter notebook to open, right? I'll copy this, okay? You all know, right, how to copy it. Go to any particular, like in the address bar on top, right? Go to a blank section within the address bar and just click on it, okay? And I'll just use Control C. We are all familiar with copying, and I'll go to the base location. I mean, go to the Anaconda prompt. I'll use CD or change the directory and paste this. Okay. So you can see that the moment I do that, you can see that now the command, now we are located, like I think you can understand that we are located here. And how do I know that? I'll use the dir command. You can see that we are located at this point, right? You can see these folders. Now what I can do is, let me use clear screen. CLS is the clear screen. It's exactly like a command prompt, okay? So here I'll go ahead and use the command as Jupyter Notebook. Many of the people write Jupyter Notebook or some write dash notebook. Everything is fine, okay? I press enter. The moment I do that, basically I'm saying that open the Jupyter notebook at this particular location. I hope it's particularly clear for everyone, guys. Okay. So, right, let it open up. Is yeah, I think you can understand, guys. It shows me now. Okay. So you can see the folders, right? I can navigate the folders like this, right? Suppose I want to create a new notebook here. I'll click on it, or right click there, or maybe go to that option there also. There are numerous ways of creating the notebook, right? I can do anything of that sort, right? I'll select maybe Python 3 as the kernel. Okay. And obviously I just created that untitled file. Okay, and maybe I'm just this is a random file, and maybe I'll just in order to run the cell, guys, you can press shift enter. You can see it shows me syntax error because, guys, the Jupyter notebook has three different modes, by the way, guys. Okay, so in Jupyter notebook you can use it to write code. You can also use it to write markdown. Okay, now that by the way, just a while ago we discussed about something called as HTML, right? HTML is a markup language, right? There is something called as a markdown language, which is basically like, again, based on formatting sans. The same thing is like it is based out of formattings, guys. Okay, so let me select markdown. Okay, I selected this cell. Okay, you can see that the first one is itself code, but if I go to the second one, you can see that it shows me markdown, right? Let me just copy this and maybe paste it here, and I run it. You can see it just shows in a normal way. Okay. And if I want to, the markdown, if I talk about, right, I can put some cool features here. Like if I use a hash in front of the markdown syntax, right? You see, guys, this is nothing but the h1 tag which you use, okay, in what do you say, markup language, okay. So same way, guys, I think you can understand. By the way, the short key of, can you see it is converted to markdown, and the short key I'm using is escape button and Y to convert it to a code cell, okay, and escape button plus M for converting it into a markdown. So I can use that as well, okay. And escape button plus R gives me raw. Raw means simply enough, like let's say this is just raw, okay. And you can see, guys, that same cell is it looks like the normal cell, but has the text in it, whatever I have written. But if I use markdown syntax, then I'm able to do a lot of other text formatting. And not just markdown, guys. You saw that I use this hash symbol, right? I can use others as well. Let me show it to you what I mean by that, right? Let me say, this is a random file. Let me use third one. Look at this, guys. Let me just show you few sample examples. Okay, you'll understand what I'm talking about. Can you see this, guys? Okay, this is what I wanted to talk about. The more the number of hashes, right? It acts just like a header tag or something in those lines. Got it, guys? And by the way, guys, another interesting aspect about Jupyter is you can also use um, HTML tags here. Like for example, I use the bold tag. Okay. You all know or remember, right? How HTML is actually written. If I talk about, right, for example, I write something here. Let's say my name is, I want this thing to be inside the bold tag. Do you see this, guys? I hope it's particularly understandable, right? So, the best thing about Jupyter Notebook is you can do a lot of different things, guys. Lot of different things. I think, I mean, if you talk about it, guys, right, you can create your own resume as a matter of fact, right? I just showed you markdown syntax. There are a few more couple of markdown syntaxes, guys, right? Let me quickly show them to you, maybe, right? There is dash, dash, dash. If I use, can you see it? You get a horizontal rule. Okay, this, if you use dash dash dash, okay, again I convert this cell into markdown, and maybe I'll show you one more maybe. So if I write like this, let's say I maybe let me show you guys, let me do this, maybe dots, I'll take maybe apple, maybe banana, maybe peers, whatever, right? You can see, guys, you can put it in bullets form, right? So, markdown and markup syntaxes are pretty very cool, guys. Very, very cool. And by the way, guys, you might be wondering, where am I getting all of this, right? In Google, right? Just go to google.com. If you guys are very much inquisitive enough, guys, you can write something called as markdown sheet. Okay, just click on write markdown cheat sheet. Click on the first link. You will see a list of the things you saw, right? I use that pound sign for first header. I use double pound for second header. I can also write H2 tag, right? I can use H3 tag. Okay, so all of those things, right? So I hope it's particularly clear for everyone. Okay. So, and you can see bold tag. By the way, guys, you might realize that markdown syntax consists of a lot of characters. You see these pound symbols, right? They are only based out of on characters, right? You see, what do you say? Star symbols, right? For bold, like if you use two stars, right? Yet and put enclose it something inside, right? Then it becomes bold text, right? Italics can be with one star, right? For example, I go back here, right? And maybe I'll convert it into markdown and just use one star and say, this session is, let's say, awesome or whatever, right? Maybe I'll just go ahead and talk about that, right? I just want to make this italics and the others, I want to keep it the way it is. Correct. So you can see, right? So you can make a lot of different things, right? Just for your reference, guys, I'm also sharing this link for all of you. You guys can, someone is unmuted.
இது எப்படி ஃபார் இது எப்படி இதுல இதுக்கு மெசேஜ் பண்ண எப்படி பண்றது இந்த
Yeah, see?
வேர்டுக்கு ஃபார்வர்ட்
Anyways, all right. So I hope you can understand, guys. Let me go ahead and share this link with you. So mark down, let's say, you know, even if I talk about, I think this also follows markdown. If I'm not wrong. Yeah, can you see this, guys? You see, right? This is actually even when you write onto this chat, right? That also follows the markdowns syntax. Okay, so I'm just giving you the cheat sheet, guys, in case you guys are interested enough to talk about, right? You can always create, you can create your own resumes, stunning resumes, guys. But let me tell you one thing, guys, right? I hope you all understand the difference between the English language and maybe, let's say, Sanskrit language, right? If I talk about the Sanskrit language, guys, it has a word for everything. Every specific thing, you might find a what do you say, a word for every specific thing in the Sanskrit language. But if you talk about the English language, right? So there are only specific words, and some few words may mean multiple things. Okay, so the whole idea behind it is to understand these things. Okay, so a lot of different things are like part of it, guys, right? If you really want to progress and look into it, guys, you can see, right? You can create your own what do you say, resume as well. You will be able to insert images as well. If you look into the markdown cheat sheet which I've shared here, look at this. I can use an image. I mean, I can also put an image as well. Okay, I can create tables. Like for example, this is the syntax of a table, right? If you talk about, right, and if I go here, right, let me go ahead and put this in markdown format, right? I have all of this, right? And if I run this, let me just take it here. You can see, guys. Can you see this? It's pretty cool to look at, right? You have a table which describes the things, right? So lot of different things can be done through this cheat sheet. I mean, you can just have a quick look at it, guys. Okay, so I think it's understandable by everyone. Okay, so bottom line is, guys, markdown, if you talk about, guys, is very limited, by the way, because there cannot be a lot many number of symbols on our keyboard, right? So there's a pound symbol, there is a star symbol. You're already in markdown, you're only using symbols, right, to represent, right, numbers, symbols and stuff, right? You can see that it's completely based out on symbols and stuff, right? And there cannot be a lot of symbols, right? And that's why you wind up having, if you talk about, right, that you don't have a lot of things. But if you shift to markup language, guys, right, that's where interesting things can happen, right? So because markup language has a lot of variety of things, right? For example, guys, you see, right, I can put up a, what do you say, I if I talk about, right, I can put up an image as well. Like for example, let me just quickly copy this and maybe show it to you here. Okay. And let's put up few things here. Maybe I'll paste it here, but I have to put the image path here. Okay. So let me just find some sample images in JPG format, whatever, right? I just click on this maybe, and let's see. But obviously, the end, it should be in some kind of a image format if I talk about, right? So click to download. I think, yeah, you can see, guys. I mean, if you look into it, if I when you hover over this click, you can see below, right? I hope it's visible, right? It shows in the form of .jpg, right? So it is a link with .jpg, right? So if I run this, okay, all I need to do is maybe right click here and copy link address. Instead of downloading it, I'll probably copy the link address, okay? And let's go back to our stuff and paste it here maybe, okay? So I think you can understand, guys. This is how it works out. Do you get it, guys? Are we understanding? I hope we all find it interesting. Is it understandable and followable, guys? Is it clear for everyone? Yes or no? Just let me know quickly, guys, on the perfect. Thank you so much, Sana. So hopefully, guys, we are having fun with all of this. So what bottom line is, guys, Jupyter Notebook supports something called as Markdown and markup as well. Okay, so all those things are supported. So if you, I'm not sure if the font tag has something. I'm not sure whether I'll be able to do that, but okay, uh, font tag, maybe let's say font size equal to 12, maybe, and I have maybe somewhere written, and maybe I'll say font. I can. You can see, guys, right? There is the size attribute. Maybe I'll increase it a bit. Maybe I think you can understand that's how it works out, right? I can also put something like color attribute. Maybe I'll say red. I don't know if it works. Can you see this, guys, right? So the tags can have optional. These are, I told you, right? While I was discussing, right? I can have a size attribute. I can have a color attribute and whatever it if it belongs to some font family and stuff, correct? So all sorts of things can be manipulated given. So if you know what do you say HTML, you can do a lot of interesting things, guys. Okay, so Manoj, you have some question. Manoj, I see your hands are raised. Do you have any question, Manoj? Yes or no? Manoj, I think. Did you raise your hand by, yeah, by mistake maybe? Okay. All right. So that's fine enough. Okay. So I hope it's particularly understandable. You can see, right, guys? I can put up anything as a matter of fact. Okay. So let me maybe create a new color. By the way, guys, there are some interesting things which you might come across. I am going to use this. This is another color. I'll like once you tune in with me with the advanced courses, I'll tell you how did I find these colors, by the way. Okay. And we'll talk about more about it. But as of now, I think you are well aware of the regular colors. Maybe I'll say yellow or whatever, right? I can make sure to do those things, or maybe blue or whatever, right? I hope you can understand, guys. Lot of formattings can be done. If you know, what do you say, markup language, you can really create nice, stunning things, guys. Okay. So I hope it's understandable and appreciated as well, guys. Okay. A lot of things can be done. Okay. Just wanted to give you the crux behind how things are actually done here. Okay. And as I said, guys, the more you do the experiment, you are going to end up having a lot of interesting things. Okay. And there's something called as a block code like this, right? It brings it it gives you a nice what do you say you might have seen quotes, right? How quotes are actually written, right? So they are sometimes in the middle and stuff, right? They have a nice format to it. So if some great person is saying some quote, right? So let's say maybe education, EDUCA, education is something SO, which one, uh, I think there's some education quote by Albert Einstein, a very famous quote, right? Like which one I mean, the bottom line was basically to say that, um, I mean, it's education is basically nothing but, what do you say? One person, if he forgets everything which has been taught in the school, right, then whatever is remaining, right, that is what is called as education. So I actually don't remember his. It's a very nice quote by him, right? By what do you say, Albert Einstein, if you talk about, right? And Einstein, you can talk about, right? You can see, it gives a nice quotation, like standoff to whatever quotes you are talking about. Okay, so which one remembers even after he has? I think which one remembers even after he has forgotten what was taught in the school. I think that was it, but I hope you can understand, guys. It's barely there, but still, that's what I wanted to tell you, right? You can go ahead and create quotes like that and stuff, make it little like lot more entertaining to look at, guys. Okay, so bottom line is, guys, markup and markdown languages are available for you to do a lot of fancy things and also organize the things as well. Okay, so you can, if you want to go ahead, I mean, if you guys are interested, you can go ahead and create a resume using the markdown and the markup syntax. Okay, you can go home and do that. Okay, so just an interesting thing which I wanted to talk about, guys, and let's move forward, which with the things which needs to be delivered. Okay, now I think you are like you saw that I wrote a few lines of code here, right, and I close it, right. By the way, guys, always do not keep it untitled. I've seen many people to who keep the name of the file as untitled. They don't bother to change it, but you can always. So this is, I can call it as maybe markdown practice or whatever, right? So make sure to have a nice name to your file and stuff. And now, if you look into it, I crossed it. You can see that it is particularly available in this folder, right? If I go to the offline folder here and go to this particular file here, right? You can see, guys, that there is something called as this existing here. Okay, so this was the file which we created, right? And by the way, guys, you cannot open this IPYNB, guys. Big, very, 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 very important point. I've seen many of the people making mistakes, right? You can't go ahead and double click and open this file. You cannot, right? You need to open Jupyter Notebook and then access this file. Okay, but however, let me show you guys. This is kind of like a text file. I can right click on it. Also, I can open it in Notepad, by the way, guys. Okay, because it's a normal text file. If you talk about and look at this, it shows you in this format. By the way, you might have seen this format earlier as well, guys. This is a pretty much famous format, like the JSON format, guys. JSON, guys, what's the full form of JSON? Have you heard about JSON? JSON? If yes, what's the full form of JSON? Anyone would like to tell me what's the full form of JSON? No? Okay, so it's what do you say? Java. Yeah, perfect. Exactly. Prasanna wrote that, right? So it's indeed JavaScript object notation file. Okay, so a JSON file is in the format of a key and subsequent value. Okay, so again, you can see more number of, I mean, it's a nested structure. Nested means one inside the other. You can see, right? So it looks like key and a value. Again, outputs again in the key format, and these are the values. You can see, right? Within this, again, there is a key and there is a value. There is a key and there is a value, key and a value. I hope you can understand, guys, right? That this is how it works out. And by the way, guys, whatever you saw there, it can be available. You can see, guys, if you look into it, right, it actually contains your data as well. If you look into it carefully, right, it also contains your data. It's not completely gibberish. Can you see this? You can see syntax, description, and everything, right? It contains your data, by the way. Okay. It's just that it's in the, because guys, the IPYNB file is a mixture of both. Okay. So that's why you look into that. But obviously, guys, do not open the file in Notepad. Okay. You have, what do you say? The specific application, the Jupyter Notebook to open this file. Okay. So, all right. I hope it's particularly understandable by everyone, guys. And let me just do one thing. Let me go ahead and close this off. And okay. So, guys, I'll do one thing. I am going like we can what we can do here is quickly take a 5 minutes break, okay? And it's 3:13, okay? By 3:20 you should be back, okay? And also in the meantime, guys, I'll make arrangements to share the what you say attendance sheet, okay? Guys, please make sure that do not give multiple entries, okay? Only one entry from each of you. Okay. And I told you, right? There is a radio button. Select your email ID. That's it. Okay. It's going to be very easy. Piece of cake. Go to the sheet I have shared. Okay. Look into the email ID which is registered there and do it. Okay. Is it clear for everyone? Everyone understood, right? So please do that. Let me quickly share the where was it? In the meantime, guys, you can go ahead and like go for a break. I'll go ahead and make these things accessible. Aarti, you have any questions? Aarti, you raised your hand. You can unmute and ask me if you want to. Do you have any questions? It's Aarti, right? Yeah. See, guys, you just disappear. Anyways, where was I? 13. Okay, so I'll go about and share this particular stuff with all of you. Okay, is it accepting the response? Perfect. So go ahead and share it with all of you. Let me stop the sharing for now, guys. You can go on the break. In the meantime, let me make the preparations. Where would it be? Copy responders link. Let me shorten the URL. Okay, I think that should be it. Okay, guys, I have shared it. Okay, you can click on it and give your attendance for the day. And in the meantime, I'll be back as well, guys. Let me also ping this message on the group so that it's available for all of you. Yeah, I have pinged it as well, guys. Please fill it up as soon as possible. Check. This is responder view. Okay, guys, can you check it once now? I just, is it opening? Just give me a message. Should be, it's working perfect. Thank you so much. All right. So you are getting the link to, okay. So it's opening, right? You are able to, you have to first log in, right? And then give you, right? Okay, perfect. So that's great. So let me check if I'm getting any responses here. Okay, so you guys will be filling. Yeah, I got two responses already. Okay, perfect. That's great. So anyways, doesn't matter. Let it happen. I'll guys, it's already 3:20. So you can take 5 more or 7 more minutes of break, guys, and let's continue forward from there. Okay. So let me put the timer on. So, hello guys, welcome back. I think let's move forward with the things. Okay. So hopefully, guys, we have I have 84 responses yet up until now, right? So if you talk about all right. So I'm waiting for others to fill that up as well. Okay, perfect. So I think it's easy to look in. Uh, guys, someone unmuted. Okay. So am I audible to all of you guys? Can you please confirm once, someone? Am I
Yes, sir,
audible
audible.
to? Okay, perfect, perfect. Thank you so much. Okay. So, guys, those of you who may have been, I mean, out for a little bit, guys, the attendance is already shared. You can check that pinned message which I have left here. Okay. So please fill up the attendance. Okay. So I see 87 responses up until now, 89 and stuff. Okay. So keep, I mean, do fill it up. Okay. So let's move forward, guys, with the things which we were discussing earlier. Okay. So, all right. Now, especially guys, if you talk about, right, hopefully the screen is visible to everyone. Okay. Now, you saw that we discussed about a little bit about what you say, our markdown and the markup syntax, right? And told you that you can go about like writing your code in a much friendly manner when it comes to having these, I mean, markdown and the markup syntaxes. Okay. So, the best thing about all of this is, particularly, which I wanted to talk about is now, I told you, right? The Anaconda Navigator can be used for navigating through your Jupyter notebook and looking into the aspects there. Okay. But however, right, let me do the same here. I told you, right? There are three different ways of looking into the same thing. Okay, so let me go ahead and quit this for now. Okay, I'm quitting Anaconda Navigator for now. Okay, now let's do this. Okay, so you saw that, guys, those of you who already have Anaconda installed on their system, right? Obviously, you can go about continuing using Anaconda. Okay, you can use the Jupyter notebook from there and stuff. But however, you can also, right? Those of you who may not have installed Anaconda yet, right? And maybe are facing issues with downloading a big file or something in those lines, right? You can do a very straightforward installation of Python, right? And the way you do that is pretty much, I told you, right? You can go to that website called Python, what do you say, .org, right? The official website of Python. Okay. You can go to this downloads, okay, and the all releases if you talk about, right? And it's better to have what do you say? I mean, you can see, right, that Python 3.12 for now, right? If you talk about, right, has there's this pre-release if you talk about 3.14, which is there, but you can see the latest one which is there as of yet is Python 3.13.2. Okay, so if you talk about, but I would always recommend to go for a little lower version. Okay, because they have this like bug fixed, right? Most of them, like if you talk about, have I mean, bug fixing is any unexpected behavior in a particular program which might be throwing up, right? That they have been sorted out. Okay, so it's always good to go to a little lower version. Okay, compared to your I mean the latest one. Okay, so unless you are very much, I mean, I'm not denying, I'm not saying that you can't or you should not download the latest version of the software, but I would say that go to the penultimate one. Penultimate is one before that or something in those, right? So you can see 3.12, maybe 3.13 you can download and stuff, right? But because 3.13 is already just if you look into the context here, right? So it's pretty much available as a download, right? So but however, you can download it. So if I talk about, like, for example, I go to any of these one, right? I clicked on it, right? You can go about downloading. You can go down here, right? You have the Windows installer 64-bit, because nowadays all of us have the 64-bit architecture, right? None of us are having the 32-bit architecture. So install this one, okay? So you can see, guys, that earlier what you saw for Anaconda was it's like a 1 GB file which opens up and gives you 5 GB. It consumes a lot of uh, space, right? And with lots of space, again, comes a lot of, what do you say? Resource utilization as well. Like, with great power comes great responsibility, right? So all of I hope all of us just a little bit light-hearted moment we're just having, guys. So hopefully we can understand, guys, that you can download this, right? Just make sure to download it, and it's almost instantaneously downloaded. By the way, I want to cross it because I already have it here. And let me go back here. You can see, guys, that I have this particular stuff, right? If you talk about, right? Like downloaded, right? This is the file which you get to download after you are done. And you can see it's almost like only 25.7 MB, right? So in case you guys are facing issues with downloads and everything, you can always download the raw version of Python, and all you need to do is double click on it, okay? And once let's say I click on modify, or because I've already installed Python, right? If you talk about it, right? So, guys, basically, if you talk about, like, you can go ahead and do a quick installation. But for many of you, right, what you can see here mainly is once you do a fresh installation, right? And by the way, if I can look into the context here, there would be an option when you try to install it from scratch, guys. Okay, you will see an option here which says that add python.exe to the path. Okay, when you do a fresh installation, don't those of you who have already installed Anaconda, you don't need to download it. But in case anyone is facing issues with the downloads and stuff, they can download Python's raw version. Okay, and you'll see an option called here saying that add Python to the path. Okay, something here. Okay, because I've already installed, I'm just clicked on repair and stuff. I just wanted to show you there will be add Python to the path. And when you do that, guys, okay, what happens is, uh, Nasika, you have something to say. I see that you raised your hand. Is it Nashika? Do you have something to say? No? Okay. So, anyways, I should try to make it a habit that if you guys raise your hand, I should not care about it, because I've been looking that no one asks question in case. So yeah, so I was talking about this, right? So earlier, remember, guys, when we were discussing about Ubuntu, I talked about environment variables, right? So when you add it to the path, what happens? A path, that particular path which is installed, right, is basically added to the path here, right? So that's why when you double click here, baby, you see this path, right, which is added here, right? C program files, Python 312 and scripts, right? This particular path is added, okay? And that is the reason why, right, you are able to, what do you say, run a few of the commands which were not actually earlier running in the context here, right? So if you talk about, right? So let's actually look at, you can see, guys, that there is a path already added. So it says C, user, Soumya, app, data, roaming, Python 312, and scripts, right? Let's see what is there in this folder to talk about. I just pasted this here and ran it. Can you see this, guys? It shows me the moment I have gone to that particular place, right? Now you can see, guys, all of these files which are particularly present here, right? You know, there is something called as Jupyter underscore notebook, right? You know what happens is, right, the moment you I told you, right, if I go to CMD or command prompt, right, and I just in the command prompt I just write Jupyter dash notebook, this will also work not just in Anaconda prompt, it is going to work here as well. I can open Jupyter notebook by writing it here, and this is happening because it is fetching this Jupyter notebook, which is located at this particular place. Do you get it, guys? You are setting up a path means you are temporarily setting it up. Look, let me show it to you here. What I mean by that, you can see, guys, this opens up Jupyter notebook here as well, right? If you talk about, you remember, right? We created sample underscore file, and I clicked on it, right? You can open the particular file here. So you saw it, right? So the reason why Jupyter Dash Notebook actually works is because you have set up the path. Let me show you guys what will happen if I do not set up the path. Okay, so let me go back here. Okay, and let me cross it. You saw that I put Jupyter Dash Notebook and it works fine enough, right? Because I told you, right, it is going to this location which is already present in your environment variables. Okay, it is there. Okay, so suppose it's not, suppose let's say I remove it from here. Okay, let me close this up. Okay, I closed it. Okay, now let me just, what do you say? Delete it. Okay, I can also delete it. I can select this and press on delete. You can see that I have just edited it. I'll just press OK, I'll press OK, and I press OK here. Okay, so this particular path, you saw that in environment. Let's go to the environment variables and see if it is deleted. Okay, I go back. Let's click on environment variables and double click on path. You can see that it's no longer there. Okay, so let me show you now what happens. Okay, so I go to command prompt by using or typing CMD. Okay, and here you earlier saw that this command was working, right? Can you see what happened here? Are you able to understand, guys, what exactly happens? When you say add it to the path means you're basically like it is a way of telling the command prompt that you added it as a shortcut, meaning you just write it and it pops up, or it basically, guys, what actually happened. Why it used to work earlier? It's because technically, right, if there was a path set here, right, then it should go. Let me tell you guys, this particular file is located in the scripts folder of Python 312. Okay, so where was Jupyter notebook? Yeah, can you see this, guys? So the reason why it was earlier working is because it went the moment command prompt saw when you write Jupyter notebook, it went to this particular place because it is set in the path, right? And what it used to do is double click, like it's just like opening up Jupyter Notebook from this place. Do you understand, guys? So here exactly that is what is happening. Is it clear for everyone? I hope it's understandable, like what is happening in the behind scene. Okay, so this opens up Jupyter Notebook again. You can see, right? So this is what is exactly happening. Got it? Because and this is particularly a what do you say? I can let me obviously, you can see these are the type is application. These are all application files. You can see, right? They are all individually application. They are also known as, you can call it as like, some of us call them as modules. You can call them in any language, but the fact is they are type application, meaning these are all executable file. When you execute it, it opens up that particular application. Okay, so that's what it does. Now, you saw that, right? It is throwing me this error because the path is not set. I removed the path, right? So what I can go back here and do is I'll go back and just paste the path again. That was C users, and it's now recognizing the scripts, right? And I press OK. I press OK again. And let's say I press OK. Just have a look. Let's see environment. Let's say environment variables. Let's have a look at environment variables here. Go to path. You can see it shows scripts being part of it. Okay. And that's fine enough. And if I go back and run it, you can see it's not working. Let's go ahead and exit it out. Okay. Once. And let me open CMD again. Okay. And see what happens. Okay. So I am back to this. I say Jupyter dash notebook. And can you see this? It recognizes the same thing, okay? And it now basically it's creating like a shortcut, okay? So it's like a shortcut to access anything and everything at that particular location. I hope, guys, this particular sense of things which we are discussing here is helpful for you to understand how inherently these things actually work. Okay, so it is a little bit more of a detailed version of what we are talking about here, but I hope you are able to understand and appreciate what happens. Okay, so what is this setting to path means? Okay, or variable like environment variables or system variables, right? So basically, that's what it is supposed to be, the path variable which we created. Okay, so I hope it's understandable by all of us and we understand the context here. Okay, so there, like this is the proper installation folder of even like if you talk about these are the files which are already present in Python 312 folder, right? If you talk about right from here, it's because of this it is able to recognize the commands. Okay, so I hope it's clear for everyone. Okay, so I can run, and by the way, guys, everything follows the same understanding, right? So if you did not have Python installed, right, then if you write Python, right, and you try to run it, right, you might, guys, those those of you who did not, who haven't installed Python yet, right, you can try, you can see, right, so it shows me Python, I mean, sorry, it says Python, sorry, guys. Python, if I write it correctly and stuff, if things are set up in the path and everything, right, it will recognize that there is a application called Python and it's going to exit, I mean, run it for you. So within this is like just like, by the way, guys, now let's come back to our PPT where we were actually discussing about like there are three, yeah, you saw, right? Python interfaces. One of them was Python shell. It says running Python from the command line opens the interactive shell. This is what it is referring to. This is the Python shell. Okay. So you saw that I went into like I just typed Python and it opens up the Python menu here. I can run Python code directly here as well. So I can say print 65 plus maybe 12. Obviously, no one likes this because it's very pathetic to look at here, right? So if you talk about, right, I mean, it's the totally black and white screen. And I mean, pro coders or pro programmers like to see this particular screen every now and then. So, but if you guys are pretty much comfortable working with here, you can also code here. But obviously, no one does that. Okay. Nowadays, everyone uses ID to do the task. Okay. So I can use the exit command and maybe I'll exit out of this as well. So you saw, right? This is the Python shell. Once you add it to the path, right? Yeah, if you write Python, it opens up the Python shell. Okay. So you saw about Python shell. You also saw about Anaconda. Okay. I told you that I'll also show you IDLE, right? Integrated Development Learning Environment, right? So let's look into IDLE as well. So, once you download it, right? Once you download Python, you saw, right? During the installation process, right? You had IDLE also ticked. Okay. You can install ideally, install documentation and other things, right? So this ideally is a little bit of a fancier version than the normal, what you say, looking uh, command line interface. But you can see, guys, that it's exactly the same. You saw, right? I just opened it in a black screen. Here it is in a white screen. That's it. Okay. So, but the whole point here is like, if I talk about there are some pretty cool features, like you can see that there is a different color of the font, right? If I write some code, okay, and if I make some mistake, maybe I'll say whatever, right? Obviously, you can see that it turns up as a red color font if you talk about mistakes here, right? So it's pretty good looking in terms of it's colorful to understand what you can segregate whether there is an error, whether there is a successful run. Okay, so and if I go about, you can see, guys, one more thing is I can also use so pr. I'm trying to use the print function. You can see that it has a auto. I just typed a few words, like two words, right? And then I pressed a tab. You saw, like you can go ahead and do that. P. R. And if I press tab, you can see that all the things relating to that opens up, right? So if you talk about PR, what happened? Yeah, so I can click on it, okay? And I if I try to open this bracket, you can see that it gives a nice friendly message automatically with the things that what is this particular function going to do? Like the print function is capable of printing it on the console, right? I mean, printing it as the output, right? So you get this particular friendly message with all of these things, arguments, and everything, right? So detail about this is not possible in the black and white command prompt window. Okay, so it is a little bit advanced compared to, let's say, print. Maybe I have these things to be printed, and obviously if I go ahead and just do that, I hope you can understand. So auto complete feature is there. I mean, description feature is there, right? So I hope you can appreciate the fact here different data types are highlighted differently. You can see that, right? Different output is shown in a different color. You have errors in different colors. I think you can see it and understand what is going on. Okay, so that's the fundamental difference between the IDLE versus what do you say, the command line interface. So you do the same exact thing, but in different ways. Okay, so do you want to kill it? Your program is still running. I don't care. I'll go ahead and okay. Press it. Okay. Okay. So I think you can understand, guys. You saw IDLE, you saw Anaconda, you saw Python shell. And if I think you'll find Python Win as well. If you talk about, you can. So there's the Windows. I told you, right? Windows version of Python. If you talk about, right, you can also download. Obviously, it's within Python itself. I mean, you'll be able to find out the Windows version of Python. That's particularly available. Okay, so in case no one uses it nowadays, right? You have advanced stuff already. So I think you can understand the context here. Okay, so it's by Python itself, the Windows Python. So I hope it's clear for everyone. Okay, now, all right. So next, moving forward, you can see this. Ideally, as color coding of your project, debugging. I mean, you want to find out where the mistakes happen because it gives a nice friendly error message, right? Auto indent, you can. Oh yeah, it is all there. There is auto indent as well. By the way, I mean, I'll show it to you what I mean by auto indent, right? So let's say, let me give you an example, right? I'm creating a def. And don't ask me what is this for now, but I'm just showing you. So this is the correct way of maybe I'll maybe having, let's say, Soumya and whatever I have. It is the correct way of doing it. And the moment I press enter, you can see, guys, right? It shows me a nice indent. The moment I did not do anything, right? I did not press space or tab or something. Okay. But obviously, if you have not written it correctly, you can see it also gives me a nice way of saying that the syntax is incorrect. We'll talk about what defs are and stuff. Okay. Don't worry about it, but I'm just wanted to show you that it also shows auto intent. Okay. What that particularly means. Okay. And interactive shell, obviously you saw that message, a lot of different things, right? Fancy things you wind up having. Okay. So all right. So, moving forward, guys, let's quickly talk about few things here. Okay. So let's I'll go about opening. I hope, guys, the fundamentals are a little bit clear, right? You can run Python using any sort of place. I mean, through any sort of place, right? So now I told you, right? I can also change my working directory. Actually, I let me just cut this from here and maybe I'll put it in your relevant folder. That was, where was it? I have foundation course. I had this repository and we are referring to unit 2. I'll keep the Jupyter file. Guys, I hope you can see, right? This particular thing contains a lot of different. So these are already pre-built exercises, which we are going to look into, but they are all file type is IPYNB. That is what I wanted to focus on, right? Just like how we just saw into the Markdown practice. Guys, would you like me to share this IPYNB file, Markdown IPYNB file, because we just created it? Just let me know on the message there, guys. Would you like me to share this file with you, the Markdown, just for reference? Or is it, I mean, would it be fine you just refer it from the Markdown, what do you say, website I gave you? So what would you like to have? Like, do you want me to share the file with you? Yes or no? Guys, quickly, let me know. Anyone there? So, I mean, have we, have all of us slept off or something? What is it, guys? I'm waiting for your message on the chat. Would you like me to share this markdown underscore practice file or not? See, I think everyone is slept off. Is it? Guys, are you able to hear me? Yes or no? Am I audible to all of you guys? Audible? Am I
Yes, sir,
audible?
audible.
Okay, perfect, perfect. That's great. So, what I was asking you is, markdown underscore practice IPYNB file. Would you like me to share it to you, or can you look into the website which I have given to practice for markdown? How would you like me to do? That's what I was asking you. So, do you want me to share? Yes or no? You can manage. Okay, guys. Did we understand what I'm asking you? You remember, right? I created the file called markdown underscore practice, right? For markdown and stuff which we were discussing. Do you want me to share it? Yes or no? That's all I'm asking you here. Okay. Maybe we are not interested for that. Anyways. Okay, Surya, I'll go ahead and share it as well. Okay. So let me share, maybe I'll keep that file in WhatsApp for all of you, okay? So that you guys have it there itself, okay? Because this thing will not be there in your, I mean, it's not there in your um, curriculum to talk about, right? This is an additional stuff which you can check out, okay? So, all right. Perfect. So I've gone forth and shared it to your WhatsApp group. Okay, so guys, I have already, what do you say, gone forth and told you about how to go about opening any particular, I mean, opening the Jupyter notebook at a particular place, right? I told you, right? I can use the CD command, right? I can go to CMD, right? And I can use the CD command to open at this location. Suppose because all of my lab files are present here, right? I want to open it here, right? So I'll go ahead and copy this. I just clicked on it, just copy it. Maybe I opened CMD. I can say CD and V or Control V. And you can see that I have changed my location here. Well, I mean, it's a pretty big location, by the way. So, but obviously now this location is changed. I can write Jupyter dash notebook to access the Jupyter notebook at or open the Jupyter notebook at this particular location. Okay, so hopefully it's clear for everyone now that you can see, right? So I placed that markdown the file here, right? So it's particularly present here. I hope it's understandable by everyone, right? And also, obviously, I can now open or interact with the stuff, right? So, guys, there's the lab file 5, which already I think we have already discussed, like Python installation and the setup, right? I gave you a better idea about how the things work out. Okay, so within Python, so just have a look at it, guys. And guys, by the way, even Microsoft Windows Store or Store, if you talk about, right, Store, if I talk about, right, the Microsoft Store also contains Python, which can be downloadable from here, guys. Okay, so I can search for the apps on top. Okay, in case you guys are interested to download it from the Microsoft Store, you can download that as well. Okay, so just search for it, search for Python. It has all the versions of Python there are, guys. I mean, most of it, if you talk about, you can see Python 3.1 to Python 3.13 is there, right? 3.11. So a lot of what do you say, versions of Python which are already available. You can go ahead and install from here as well, guys. I showed you three different ways of accessing it, guys. You already have Anaconda installed on your system, right? No need to do the others, okay? But in case you want it to be lightweight, like Anaconda takes a lot of memory and a lot of space, right? You can always shift towards these alternatives, okay? So to talk about, okay? So that's particularly I can click on get and get the Python installation done as well, okay? So, and guys, so with this, obviously, you all know, right? The first thing which we always do when we start off any programming language is print the hello world. Okay. So just like how you saw variables up until now, right? You have the, what do you say, on the right hand side, the value, and on the left hand side as the variable. Okay. So I can run this. That's hell where I can use tab, guys. See, guys, always try to make it friendly enough, right? So initially, right, try to use tab to fill up the things and see how things are working around, right? And gradually, as you gain confidence, you may I mean you will be able to write the code automatically to be but guys, initially when you are starting off your careers and stuff, right, it's always advisable to write the entire thing, right? So I hope you can understand. Now you can see I can run the stuff by using this, or also, guys, I can also use the print statement and say yes. Okay. So I stored it, in Python, guys. Okay. Especially in, I mean, even in other programming languages, if you talk about, guys, the execution happens from right towards the left. Okay. So first, hello world is, as a string, it is created. Okay. And then there is the equal to sign. It is assigned to a variable called hell underscore var. Okay. So just a quick understanding about it, guys, right? So initially what happens in your, if you look into the memory, right? If you talk about this is your RAM, right? If you talk about, right? So initially it goes and creates a space where you have, what do you say? Hello world. Okay. Uh, written, right? So it's like having a space where hello world is written, right? And then obviously from here, because of the equal to sign, so the movement happens from RHS towards the LHS. Okay. So I think, so this particular variable is stored in the variable called, hell, whatever, fair, whatever you have taken, right? I hope it's particularly understandable. Guys, okay. The variable name, so that particular location is referenced by the variable name. Got it? So I hope it's particularly understandable. So, and all of these things happens in your on your RAM, guys, on your memory, right? So if you don't have, because obviously this is a very simple task to do, but when you do anything, guys, first thing what happens is it goes and occupies the temporary storage, which is the RAM, and then it gets executed, right? So I hope it's particularly understandable. And by the way, guys, I can use to print it directly on the console. This is called as printing on the console. Or I can also exclusively use the print statement with and there I can print the variable on the screen. Okay, so I hope you can understand the context here, right? On the console versus the what do you say on? I mean, as string if you talk. Okay, so all right. So, guys, hopefully you can understand the context here of what we are referring to. Okay. And might be, I hope it's clear for all of us. Okay. So, guys, let's, what do you say, wrap it up for, I mean, here for today. Okay. And we will maybe continue forward in tomorrow. Okay. I hope it's particularly understandable by everyone. I see 147 responses yet. Brilliant, guys. Now, I think you all got the hang of it, right? So I'm hoping, guys, what is the meaning of 32%? Why does it show that? Wait a second, guys. I am, let me go ahead and check what kind of responses you guys have given. So there is one having 32. Oh, sorry. This could be guys. I just want to remove. Okay, perfect. So there are unique number of entries. Good. 148 entries have been received so far. Perfect, guys. Okay. So I think you got a hang of the things. Okay, that's great, guys. I'm just not sure why others. Okay, it says others. I did not see that. I was thinking that someone used duplicates as a matter of fact. So good job, guys. I think you all understood and got a hang of it. Okay. So those of you who are remaining for giving their attendance, guys, please do so as soon as possible. Okay. And that way we can have it done easily enough. Okay. And I hope that's it. So, guys, because I actually see in the, I mean, here, currently there are 141. I saw around 150 people. So, guys, if someone is remaining for the attendance, guys, please fill it up. Okay. So today's attendance is, I have already repeated, guys. Okay. And please use that link to mark your attendance, which I have shared with you. Okay. So I have already pinned it as a message, guys. Okay. So go to that pinned message. Okay. And, and guys, those of you who are remaining, you have, as I said, guys, I also have some time where like because I have to update the attendance and everything, right? So until 5:15 every day, guys, you guys can give your attendance, okay? And post that, it's difficult for me to track. So guys, if you are marked absent, I can't do anything about it, okay? So hopefully, thank you guys for tuning in. I hope we all enjoyed the session, okay? And yeah, guys, just one more thing that tonight I'll be giving you the pre-assessment. Okay, so please attempt the pre-assessment. Okay, and the deadline to do that is until tomorrow. Okay, and I have to also check the status of the previous assessment, how many are remaining and stuff. Okay, I'll be posting the list maybe. But guys, as I said, please do the pre-assessment right away. So I'm very happy to see the overflowing responses there in the group chat and stuff, right? Once you are done, okay, please share your screenshot on in the group as well, okay? So thank you so much, guys, and have a good day. Let's meet tomorrow, okay? Good day, guys. Bye bye. And guys, feel free to I mean get in touch with me once if you guys have any questions or anything. Okay. So do not hesitate to. No worries, uh, Prakash. So great. No worries. Chalo. Yeah. Guys. Thank you. Guys, please wait. Some, guys, can you guys do not leave yet? Oh, I forgot. See, guys, those of you who are still there, please wait for it. I need to take a screenshot. Thank you for reminding me, guys. Please, there are, kindly wait, guys. Okay. I need to take the screenshot. I'm sorry for forgetting it. So, guys, can you please switch on your cameras a bit? Okay. So I need to take the screenshot for our stuff. So let me also switch on my camera. Okay. So guys, you can all please switch on your camera. Thank you so much for reminding, guys. No, no worries, Jay. So yeah, guys, if you can switch on your cameras a bit, I'll quickly take the photographs as well. Okay. So I'm happy to see the responses for all of you guys. It's great to have all of you here that a lot of things we are looking into and stuff. So guys, can you please turn on your camera, everyone, those of you who are there, just for a quick bit so that I can take a screenshot quickly. Okay. So guys, make it quick. We need to leave as well. So please turn on your camera, guys. It's okay, guys, wherever you are. I just need a quick moment so that I can capture the photos and stuff. Okay. So, thanks, Ajay. What about others, guys? Quickly, guys, quickly. Let's turn on your camera, everyone, guys, quickly. Quick, guys, quick. And then let's leave, guys. I don't want to go ahead and torture you. So just quickly, let's take the screenshot here. Okay. So everyone, guys, quickly. I need, yeah. Uh, Rama, Karthik, your friend Ajay has already turned on. Please, guys, support him, support me. Come up with the just for, as I said, 1 minute maximum for 1 minute, maybe not even 1 minute. I'll just take a what do you say? Quick stuff. Guys, everyone, please turn on your camera. Clay. Ajay, do you have any friends besides you who are there? Maybe joined. You can tell them to maybe turn on their.
Yes, sir. He already joined, sir.
Oh, okay. So can you ask him to just turn on his camera as well? Yeah.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Ajay.
Okay.
So
Okay, sir. Thank you.
yeah. I'll just stay here. So I'll just let them let others know. Rama, Karthik, Sharmila, guys, please quickly. I just need a moment of yours, okay? Won't be disturbing your privacy, believe me. So please, quickly, guys, just come up. There are a lot of uh, what about others? What about others? That's okay. And yeah, thank you, Dhanush. And guys, please support Ajay. You can turn it back on quickly. Guys, others as well, please quickly. Let's do that. Okay. So just thanks, Ajay. Others, everyone, quickly, guys. Yeah, we have Dhanush. Guys, others, please, quickly, guys. What's happening, guys? Can you please turn on your cameras? Perfect. Thanks, Rohit, as well. Others, guys, a little bit, few more people, that would be fine. So, Rohit, is your friend sitting who is next to you? He's also attending, or okay, I have Harish as well. Okay. Yeah, Rohit, you can switch on. Perfect. Thank you, guys. I will take few more shots quickly. Uh, Kartikshwar, thank you. Uh, all right, guys. I think, I mean, those are not interested here. Maybe I'll just keep this final thing. All right, guys. Thank you for joining in. Let's meet tomorrow, maybe, and have a fun learning session. Thanks, guys. Bye.